Hi, welcome to the channel. My name is Eric, and I thought today we would talk about uh, what, how do you know if you have a mental health issue going on, and if you do, or a family member of yours or a friend does, how do you go about getting help? You know, the sad thing to say is here in New York, the funds available for the mental health community has gone down significantly. Thanks to our past two governors that thought that it's cheaper to let people that have a mental illness back on the streets. They shouldn't be there. There should be places where they're being taken care of, to letting our prisoners out because it's cost effective instead of having guards and employees and everything else. It's not about helping the mental health community or helping people, you know, the prisoners in prison. It's all about the almighty buck. That's my 2 cents on it, and I feel strongly about it. All right, so how do you know if you are having or do have a mental illness? And if you do, that doesn't make you defective, doesn't make you any less than, but I'll put in a section below a link to a couple websites. I'm not affiliated with them, and but they have a number of tests that you can just kind of fill to see if you're kind of leaning one way or the other. And the best time to get help is as soon as possible. The worst time to get help is when it's come to a crisis point for either you or your family or friends around you. And we don't want that. Crisis point, now you got law enforcement involved. You've got a lot of stuff, dynamics going on, and that all could have been solved if you or your family member took a few of these tests to see if something fit the bill there for. And it doesn't make, it's not definitive testing. All it does is it just kind of scopes you down to see if it's possible. And from there, they can they can push you in the right direction of what to do next. I am not a mental health professional, but I've been part of the community going on 60 years. I've been a caregiver, and I've been also a person that was diagnosed with a mental illness, chronic depression. And yes, I got into treatment after refusing to do it for a number of years, let it get to a crisis point before I was willing to accept. And because of the stigma, nobody wants to admit that they're out of control. That's the easiest way. And usually, if you think you're crazy, you're not. It's when you think you're not crazy that we need to talk to you. That's a joke, guys. All right. So, like I said, I'll put a couple links in the description, of where you can take these exams. But let's say you take these exams and it says that, you have a lot of common characteristics that go along with it. What's the next step? Because we want to deal with it here and not at crisis point, right? All right, so let's deal with it here. You're sad, you're upset, you're feeling depressed, you know, those are all signs that something's not just right. And we need to deal with those emotions. Now, it may be you have reasons for feeling sad. You know, as I talked in a previous video, the only one that can make you feel anything is you. Nobody else can make you feel anything. So there might be a reason behind why you're feeling sad. I mean, you could be through a breakup of a relationship. That's that's not easy on either side. You know, it's but it can go from that downhill. But let's say that you've got a lot of characteristics of that. What are we going to do next? Well, the thing we do next, and that depends upon, uh, I hate to say it, but what kind of insurance you have. If you have decent health insurance, then I would recommend a private therapist to 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 go talk to. Uh, if you are on Medicaid, which is for New York, Medicare, you pretty much have got to either get yourself on the waiting list. In New York, it's 6 to 8 months out, or you have to, and, and don't get me wrong, if you need to, I want you to go. But the next step to get, if you need to get it taken care of now before it gets out of hand, and it's not that great to say here for New York, go to the ER. Go to your local ER and just tell them, I'm having these problems. I don't know how to deal with them, and I don't know where to turn next. And most hospitals have a mental health counselor of some kind that can work with you. That doesn't mean that they're going to lock you up. That's just trying to get next step. Now, if you feel that you're a threat to yourself or others, please, please, please let them know that. Most people that commit suicide are people that you just kind of shake your head and say, I didn't think they were having any problems. Most people don't broadcast that they're having suicidal ideations. Most people that commit suicide do all the planning and everything in their head. They start putting stuff in order for that time. Again, most people would say, I didn't know that person was even having problems, because we keep it to ourselves. We don't want other people to know that. But if you're one of those people, please, please, please let the ER staff know that this is what you're doing. Because I'm telling you right now, it's not logical thinking. It may seem and feel like it, but it's not logical. And that's not you. I mean, the real you wouldn't be having these ideations and the feelings that you do. What I'm telling you is you have a chemical imbalance. And when you're doing all right, you wouldn't even contemplate doing this. But you are the one that needs to be in a safe space. You are the one that needs help, dire help, now. But that's what it's gotten to. And that's what you're up against. Don't worry about the stigma. Go to these other sites that I have in the description, not affiliated with any of them. Do their tests and see if anything rings a bell. And as a family member, you can also do the test to see the signs that are coming off a loved one and see if there's a correlation. Now, I'm not telling you as a family member to try to diagnose another family member because we don't want that. And the other thing that we don't want, which is very common with family members, especially like mamas and, protective hens, is trying to be their therapist, psychiatrist, and mom. Therapist, psychiatrist, and husband. Therapist, psychiatrist, and wife. Just be a mom, husband, or wife, not the other two. Let the other two be handled by trained professionals. You have to give trust. You have to trust them. If you don't feel that they're doing good for your family member, then it's time to check elsewhere. But don't try to check elsewhere if you feel like the psychiatrist is very egotistical or narcissistic. Most of them are, but those are the best ones. They don't have very good bedside manners, but they know medicines and they know what works. And if you button up and listen, those guys are to be the ones that get you back where you need to be with the rest of us. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section. If you could like and subscribe, that would be super. If you have other places that, outside of New York that people can go to and how to, put it in the comments. I'm kind of limited to what New York is because that's where I live. I'm not in upstate New York. I'm in upstate New York, which is we call northern New York, out in the boonies. All right. So I'll see you on the next video. If you need help, please get help. Please. All right.